Hey everybody, Chad back with another video of the collection of Chad Hopkins, and basically today we're going to be talking about well, one of my childhood heroes. We've all had him, and for whatever reason we kind of stick with him over the years, and oddly enough my childhood hero was Bruce Willis. And here he is on the cover of the Rolling Stone. Doesn't everybody want to be on the cover of the Rolling Stone? So kind of interesting. When I first saw Bruce, he was on the TV series Moonlighting. I was pretty young, but just thought he was such a smart guy, wisecracking, and just loved the chemistry with him and Sybil Shepherd. And of course, then later on, he started doing other movies and stuff like Die Hard. Of course, he's most famous for. But he's actually quite an interesting actor. He was born March 19th, 1955, in West Germany. His mother was German, and his father was actually from New Jersey, and American. And his father's last name was Willis, of course, and he was named Walter Bruce Willis, and later shortened it up to just Bruce Willis, which is what we know him as today. He basically had done performing in school, and acting was a real method for him to pour out, and like a lot of actors do. He also is probably not well known for it, but has a lot of musical talent as well. But basically, I'm just going to show you the collection today, because if you're not interested in Bruce Willis, I totally understand. So I'm probably giving you some trivia that you really didn't want to know. But those of you who are interested, you guys asked, so here it is. Again, he was on the cover of this Rolling Stone magazine, which I now have in my personal collection. I do have quite a few things of his. I got a couple press kits. This one was actually from Moonlighting, and includes the photo, the famous shot of him and Sybil. Someday I would love to have that signed. He is one of the actors that, of my favorite three actors of all time that I haven't had the pleasure of getting yet. This is actually kind of interesting. I got two photos here from his musical days, and very interesting. I mean, here's his classic car with the shades and hat on. I mean, who doesn't want to be cool like Bruce? And here's another one. Again, these publicity shots are more from his musical time, and I will kind of get into that in a second. But did want to show you that I had a couple of the press kits of his. Basically, he's been in over 125 movies. Countless appearances as himself in shows and so forth and so on. You might think as long as he's been acting, he would have been in a lot more movies, but again, a lot of times he appears as himself. But he's also written a couple things and produced, a handful of things too, and so forth. But I do have quite a bit of his collection on DVD. He is one of the main guys that I collect, and here is part of the TV show Moonlighting, which is the first time I saw him. And this was back in the 80s, and it was such a great show. If you haven't watched it, it's definitely worth a good, go back and look type of thing. But anyway, I also, basically have the Die Hard series. The first three were in a box set, and this at the time was very sought after. So, excuse me, there's the first three movies. And goes all the way down. I'm still collecting them. I don't necessarily have, I don't have all his movies, but I have quite a few of them. And I'm just going to reach down real quick and grab these, because this was kind of a side project that I've been working on. There was a comic book company called Boom Comics back in 2009 that got a hold of the idea of the Die Hard, and how tough a cop Bruce Willis was as John McClane, and what he would have been like the first year, and how did he get to be as tough as he was, and so forth. And they did a series of 8 comics. They basically, put it all finally in a hard edition comics, as most comic book collectors know. There's the cover with Bruce's likeness in the back. They also took the first 4 issues and the second 4 issues and put them in soft paperbacks, and this is a little bit of Chad being the completist, because of course I have to have most of these. And interestingly enough, they actually had different covers. You can see this is number 8 and this is number 8, and they would do that, just have variant covers, and I'm still collecting the variant covers. There's 2 issues actually of this series I don't have, which are pretty hard to get, but I recently picked up a couple that I was missing, so I decided I'll be finishing that soon. But this is based on the Die Hard series, and Bruce's character as John McClane before the Nakatomi Plaza thing in Die Hard 1. So I'm just going to set those down here. I want to talk about another thing that Bruce was involved with, and that was an animated series in the 90s. And if you saw The Past is Alive, John Jab's channel, I sent him a copy of this, which is called Bruno the Kid. This was like the pilot episode. I believe it's actually got a couple episodes on there, but I sent John this, and a lot of people didn't know that Bruce, was responsible for this cartoon series. It is kind of hard to find. It was more popular in other countries, but I did find a couple of these on VHS, believe it or not, and I'll probably eventually transfer these over to DVDs so I can watch them, anytime instead of pulling out the VHS. But there's a Christmas special as well. So these are, not real hard to get, but the Christmas one's a little more hard to get, but usually can find that on eBay for $5 or less. Even I had a couple that were sealed, but obviously I sent John one and I opened it. And believe it or not, back, John also, I sent him these, but back when the series came out, there was a series of toys that was produced for Wendy's, I believe. And sorry, I don't have my glasses on, so I can't read, but yes, it looks like Wendy's logo on here from the show Bruno the Kid. And it was like a spy adventure. He works for the government in that animated series, and it's Bruce Willis's voice and so forth. But these are all little toys. These are still sealed. I have actually a couple sets. I sent John almost a full set that I had extra. It's like 8 toys, and I thought it was fun to collect. So as far as trading cards, because we all know that trading cards is a big part of all of our collection in YouTube land, the community that we belong to. He had one set of cards from the movie Armageddon that was released by Nestle, and also like a real rough set of cards that were almost like postcards from the movie Sin City. That was basically it. I used to have those trading cards when I started slimming down. I used to also have quite a bit of toys of Bruce Willis. They actually had made figures of him as from Die Hard as John McClane. They had made him from Sin City, different size figurines that did different things. They had him from Armageddon in the astronaut outfit and so forth. I used to have all those. But I've slimmed down. I'm not saying that I would be opposed to getting those, but my philosophy on that, as I've said in earlier videos, you don't always have to be a completist and have everything, especially if you don't hanging and displaying and enjoying what you're collecting. It gets to be financially overbearing, and what fun is that? So at this point in time, I have sold those things that I wasn't really enjoying at the time, but I enjoy watching his movies, and I've read the comic books, and of course the press kits I would hope someday to get signed, and I just think the toys are kind of cool, so I'm gonna keep those. And I do look at all this stuff on a regular basis, so that's really what I think we should do with our collections, be able to go through and not have so much that we can't look at it every so often and really enjoy it. So this is why I do what I do with Bruce. I do want to mention, I mentioned earlier the music, and a lot of you did not know that maybe that Bruce was a performer. Yeah, there's his first album is, basically the return of Bruno. Bruno is his nickname, is Bruce Willis's nickname. And this was a lot of cover songs that he did, Under the Boardwalk, and Respect Yourself was actually a single. And this was back when vinyl was king, but I have managed to pick these up on CD. And there's his second one, album. Not as good as the first one. It was this much more commercial, and he was riding on the coattails of the movies and stuff, so it was very popular. He actually, a lot of people don't also know that he was in with Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Planet Hollywood restaurants, and he was touring those restaurants and performing. He actually plays a really, really mean harmonica, believe it or not, and blues player, and he's really good. Singing wise, he's average at best, I think, but was still cool to see him perform, and he entertains. He's very interesting. I think eventually what I'm going to collect as far as this goes, because I did have some of the vinyl originally, and I have been getting back into that a little bit. It's kind of a neat little hobby and not too expensive, but he had a bunch of singles out on 45s and picture sleeves with his pictures on them and so forth. And I think there's releases from the UK and Australia and Canada and stuff like that. Maybe about 30 total 45s, as well as the albums themselves, and I'll probably eventually get those. That's something I can do, that doesn't cost a lot, and for me would be fun to kind of collect, and as I learn about the vinyl records as well. But he definitely did this, and I'm not sure if he's really proud of it or not, but they were decent, and a couple of the songs charted on the charts. And he was also the spokesman for a while for Seagram's, and of course now he doesn't drink, so he doesn't do that anymore, but you can actually on YouTube go find some of his original commercials where he was promoting Seagram's wine coolers and singing in the commercials. I'm pretty sure I've seen those a couple times on there. So there's a lot to collect for anybody. I'm sure if you have a favorite actor, actress, musician, or whatever, you can get a lot of things. Again, I try to keep it really simple and affordable because we're all on budgets, and there's no sense of going in debt to do something that if you really love, that if you just get everything right away, there's no fun in collecting. The fun is chasing down what you want. So again, I enjoy the stuff I have of Bruce Willis's, and I do love watching his movies. So I will continue to look for, his newer movies is the ones I don't have a lot of, but they're pretty affordable. So I have most of his early stuff, and the press kits and the comic books from Die Hard are a lot of fun. And I'm pretty soon hopefully going to be collecting the 45s and the albums. I don't know about the toys and the cards that further down the road, and like I said, you got to be realistic. Is this something you're going to be able to display and enjoy, or is it just something going to sit in a box in your closet and you're not going to enjoy? So this time I'm passing on that and kind of keep it simple. I have purged my DVD collection, and I've saved a few of my favorite movies from some of my favorite actors, but Bruce was probably the most influential actor in my life at a young age. So that's why I kept what I have. So anyway, I hope you like my discussion on Bruce, whether you like Bruce or not, but let me know what you think on my collection of Bruce. Give me a thumbs up, hopefully. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And, in the comments, let me know what you think. And going to be sharing some more of my collections, more ripping videos soon for search of buck cards and so forth. And more of my collection coming up real soon. So, again, I hope you enjoy, and we'll see you real soon. God bless.